And we are live. Hello, hello, hello. If you are entirely new, my name is Eliza Mozal. I am an energy healer and a spiritual mentor. And in this spiritual show called Inwards, we are going all into our spiritual human wholeness journey. We are de-shaming depression. We are de-shaming imperfection. We are de-shaming guilt and shame. We are de-shaming being in a high or a low state of being. We are de-shaming that which we are rejecting as a spiritual beings. So welcome if you are entirely new over here. If you're just coming into the room, please say hello in comment section. Let me know if you can hear me, because this is a take two, and previous one I was talking for about 7 minutes before I realized through the comments that my microphone was not connected properly. So please let me know if you can hear me. And let's start. This video, episode number 6, is designed and dedicated to my past self and also everyone and anyone who believes that through your spiritual journey and expansion, the only way to do it for you right now is through being only in the higher level of consciousness, only through being in the pleasant, easy, high emotions. That only through being in those, God forbid, looking at pain, past, God forbid, looking at trauma, or talking about anything that's unpleasant. Okay. If this is you on your journey and something doesn't work, this video is for you. Why am I sharing that? I am sharing this extremely important part and shift of attention, direction, and the ability to look at everything in a new way as my own journey, my own spiritual journey became very much spiritual, ego driven journey at some point. I'm not saying everything I did was wrong. I lost myself, lost my way, none of that. There was just a point on my journey when I realized, oh my goodness, I got this all the other way around. And it served me best until it didn't. So I wanted to share with you because a huge part of my journey, I believed that talking about anything that's negative, talking about pain, talking about our struggles out loud is us feeding these energies, is me actually asking for more of it, which means I am blocking the joy, which means I am blocking myself from experiencing love and bliss and abundance and being more open, until I realized that this is actually only a limiting way of being, because true expansion and growth is when I open up and expand both ways, meaning I can process, feel, and experience fully and entirely all my lower states of being. By lower states, I mean energy who comes from the light and is spinning in a low way. So it's much heavier and denser energy like guilt, shame, fear, pain, suffering, unworthiness, which is something I have been conditioned into in this life. That frequency is still somewhere in my body, even if I did so much work around it. And there is a big chance it will be still somewhere in my body, in my patterns, till the rest of this life. And also expanding in the higher states of being, which are the same as the lower states, coming from the light, but spinning very fast in a very expanded way. Those states of being are love. Those states of being are compassion. Those states of being are gratitude, thankfulness, appreciation, massive joy, or small joy. Those are higher states of being because the light spins in much higher speed, and it is much more expanded. Guilt and shame, which is on a lower scale, it is a denser energy. It spins very slow. It spins very slow, and it is much denser, and it is very contracted. So what what drives this episode? This episode drives the experiences I've been allowing myself to go into in the last 2 3 years, but in such a bigger depth in the last year, maybe 6 months. There has just been so much calling from the depth of my soul to go into that which I used to be scared of looking at, which means I need to feel a little bit more of that which I never actually allowed myself to feel. Why? Because if I am hiding from something, if I am running away from something, there is some belief within me that drives that behavior, believing this thing is bigger than me, or it has its power over me, like fear. Okay, so let's say I am afraid of being abandoned. Okay, many people is carrying that fear of being abandoned. So what do we do in order to not look into that energy field, because that's just energy, everything is just energy, that it starts within. Instead of looking within, feeling it, experiencing it, and shining the light on it by simply being with it, we have created all of these different beliefs and patterns. We started believing we are not good enough. So, in order to not feel abandoned or not approach the possibility of being abandoned, we become a people pleaser. So if someone demands from us to be in a specific way, we just simply obey, tune in which way they want us to be, and we dance to their tune, abandoning ourselves in the first place. And the root of all abandonment comes from us abandoning ourselves first. So very often we have, if we have a child who is exactly the way their parents want this child to be, that child, in order to become that parent pleaser, it had to first abandon himself or herself entirely, and their true calling, their true voice of how they would like to express themselves today, or in this week, or in this month, or in this day of a school, or after school, or anything it is. Going to school itself, right? It doesn't probably has a choice. It is forced, it is pushed, it has to do whether it likes it or not. And I'm not talking about a healthy level of discipline and processing emotion. I'm talking about bypassing. I'm talking about blind bypassing all of it. So, and then on the other side, we have a child who is an entire rebel, and it says there is no way I'm going to go to school. We're doing homeschooling or private school, or it simply says, no, I am not going to wear this clothes. There is no way I'm going to wear that. This is not me. I want to be this. I don't want to do this class. I want to do an entirely different class. I want to do dance and painting. I don't want to do math, science, and chemistry, right? So the child is fully dedicated to the way they want to be, but in the same way has to allow himself and herself to be then abandoned by the parents who demand that child to be different that it feels that it wants to be. So we all go through some levels of being abandoned. So if we carry that fear within, and all of us carry it more or less, even if you did a huge amount of work around it, there is still some level, deeper level within you, that at some point is going to come up and ask to look at it, right? If we are running away from it, we make that fear bigger than us. Okay. On the other side, if you are coming on this part of your journey to an understanding that you are a being of light who simply came here to experience different states of being and different energies that enrich and expand you on a soul level. You will at some point sit down with yourself and ask yourself, okay, what the heck am I running away from? Why do I make this person so important and I place them on a pedestal? Why do I feel I have to reply to anyone that I don't feel like replying? It comes a point of our journey where we are gonna sit down with ourselves and ask, okay, what is it within me that I am running away from? The sad part, sad, truly sad, is that most of people are doing it when it's really, really, really bad / too late. After they will get a very bad diagnosis from a doctor and they give all their power away. The diagnosis is number one, right? Not their desire to discover other options like shifting the energy. It often happens when the whole life everything fell apart or on a deathbed. That's the truth. That's the reality. And then a person realizes, oh my goodness, nearly every single decision in my life was based on running away from feeling pain or fear instead of going through it and actually experiencing something more, which is the part of you that knows that you are more and bigger than any pain, any fear, any energy that simply wants to run through your system. And through us, not knowing how to process feelings, emotions, how to process trapped energies in our bodies, how to release our trauma, how to be with ourselves. Look, even when you watched a half an hour video like this one, right? Or an hour video, can you sit? Can you simply sit with it? Or your conditioned mind constantly convinces you, your body, that maybe is still in charge of you, convince you that you should get up, that you should turn this off and watch this later. Okay, maybe the old conditioned mind convince you, oh my god, that feels too scary, it means I'm gonna have to feel my pain, let's turn this off and watch Netflix, or let me eat some popcorn, whatever it is, because I'm sharing with you my old way of thinking and how I learn to observe that mind that used to was entirely in charge of me, my life and my experience. And of course, I felt powerless. Of course, I felt as a victim and I behaved like one. And I constantly craved pity from other people. I craved other people tell me, oh, poor you, Eliza. Yes, it is their fault. You have done nothing wrong. So it was the old lower way of being and state that I never actually allowed myself to fully experience. All the energy trapped within me, I was working all around them to not approach them and trying to find a softer and easier way towards just feeling in a vacation mode, which is kind of like an ideal that it is in the society right now, that's where our life goes to. It is all about creating that vacation mode lifestyle. And that's it. That's it. Feet up, all is problems, no issues. But that has never been the reality that I seen people are truly feeling fulfilled with. People get rest in 2 weeks' time, or a week, or a month, or 3 months, 4 months, however long we might need. I experienced myself and I heard other people sharing them experiencing release, experiencing relief, experiencing detachment from stress, releasing a little bit of stuff, or just simply not experiencing it right now, meaning not processing what's going on and staying distracted. But very quickly, that conditioned mind and that body that is conditioned into pain and suffering is triggering the person to be in discomfort and finding a new focal points within or outside to describe as and gave a new slash old meaning that this is not good enough, this is bad, this is annoying, this is irritating. And this is my experience also anytime I place myself in a comfort zone. From now on, I call comfort zone a killer zone, meaning it doesn't last. Because we have not, I don't believe, and this is just my opinion, no one has to agree with me. I don't need to prove anything to anyone, but I don't believe I definitely didn't came here on this earth to work a specific amount of hours, sit behind the desk, only go to toilet when my supervisor will allow me, and all that stuff, save a specific amount of money or put something. I just have not been designed to be square and live in a square way and somehow find happiness, peace, fulfillment, and satisfaction. The only way I have experienced growth and expansion is to processing everything in now moment and being present here and now. And that's why this way of thinking and being that I at some point on my spiritual journey approached, it couldn't work for me any longer, because as soon I approach a lower state of being, which is only normal and natural, especially if there is so much trauma trapped in this body, and that's a case for everyone, there is no exceptions. Every one of us is carrying more or less trauma that we experience in our own ways, and every single one of them is valid, and every single one of us is magnificent, inequally magnificent and worthy of knowing this priceless information and energy of how to process it. And every one of us has this level of unprocessed emotions and trauma and pain and fear within us. And I truly believe we came here to transmute it, not to get rid of it, not to resist it, and definitely not to run away from it. The biggest amounts of fulfillment and true phenomenal, like a self-love, like like an embodiment of the goddess. That's the best I can describe, because that's what just happened right now for myself and Andrea. But I'm gonna speak about myself, my own experience only, of course, from my point of view. After this week and a half of going through whoa, so much, the true level comes through going through it all, not bypassing any feeling, emotion, or situation, not only pointing to only specific feelings and emotions I'm allowing myself to see, experience, and talk about, and put everything else on the side and only show my pretty, pleasant, and amazing side. I have been actually a little bit irritated since yesterday, and I allow myself to feel it. I allow myself to see where is that coming from. I allow myself to look at it, and I allow myself as well to connect with that higher aspect of me and ask for more light, meaning I am opening myself to the higher light to see all aspects of it, so I can have and feel and express by even just feeling. I don't have to say anything to anyone because I don't owe anything to anyone, but just express from my heart the compassion towards others who expect of me to think, do overtime, think about about someone not being able or not wanting to communicate properly and want me to do overtime and try to figure out what they're trying to say. And it's just not my way. I don't go and I don't ask people, what's going on with your life, why you are there, did you move, did you sell, did you did or that. No, I actually find this, me personally, I find this very rude. But I am very open for people to come and share with me what you would like to share, not what I think you should share or what should be shared. That's how I operate right now. That's what works for me the best. People come up with so many different conclusions, um, and I got to find more compassion. I just got to find more compassion towards myself and towards everyone else, because at the end of the day, we do all do our best. We all simply do our best from where we are, from the level of energy we are having today. And the more compassion and love I can find towards me and anyone else, the easier just flows. It feels like I'm just taking myself and everyone off the hook. I cut the cord and I set them free. That doesn't mean I'm happy. Like, yeah, I love when you are this way and that way. No, it's more like none of my business. None of my business. None of my business. What is my business here? What kind of meaning I am giving to myself and others in this whole situation? So that's what I wanted to share. Okay, so this is this is a new family member, and maybe I'm gonna call it Stanley. There is a crystal one here in the middle with a rainbow, which is just absolutely phenomenal. I doubt the camera is gonna actually capture it. You cannot even see there's crystal, but that's okay. So myself and Andrea, just before we had the road back, which it was 2 days of driving back when we went to Virginia, and 3 days, it took us 3 days to got up. And I'm gonna talk about this journey because it's very juicy, very spicy. We went to the caves in Virginia that they were very close to those mountains that we found, and I'm gonna speak about it because it blew my mind. And in these caves, just before going into these caves, there was a shop with crystals and huge big chunks of crystals with Andrea got. I place how I choose crystal is that I place my hand there and I feel it. If I don't feel the energy, it doesn't run through my veins. I don't feel it. Doesn't open something up, or I don't feel the burst like right now. I feel it in my just below my knees and in my heart, in my torso from that crystal. If I don't feel it, I'm not gonna take it. It's not for me, and doesn't matter how pretty it is. And then I came up to another shelf. I seen this crystal. I straight away placed my hand there, and I'm like, ooh, this one is for me. And it's Stanley because it is next to the small town called Stanley, which got easily stuck in my mind. So Stanley is with us today, and I wanted to share with you because what has happened and how I have navigated through that journey, which is entirely different to what I would do maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, definitely 10 years ago. And another thing is that I'm sharing this because the growth and expansion I have experienced through that, it absolutely and entirely blows my mind. The empowerment level I stepped into after that in those last few days was something I've never felt in my whole life. And I feel my whole body being right now so on fire, but it's like a cold fire, if that makes sense. The light is running through my system. I can feel it right now where I'm sharing that with you. Yesterday we went to spa. We went back on Saturday evening, night. Yesterday, Sunday, we went back to spa, and I was so firm in my energy. I knew why I am going to spa. I am tired, I am exhausted, I am drained, and I love myself so much that I am going there and it's a gift from me to me. No one is going to be disturbing my peace. We went to the first place, which was jacuzzi, and there was 3 men that came in, and one of them was a very loud, very much demanding attention and obeying to his energetic energetic commands. Oh, everyone is okay, everyone is okay, how is you, how are you? That kind of energy, okay? You can imagine the internal chatter that was running through my mind. Woo! Please let me know if you can identify with that in the comments. I bet you can, a lot of you. So that kind of demand straight away. I'm really good with scanning energy without trying straight away. I know where is that coming from. It's a fear of not being in charge. It's a fear-based mentality, lack mentality, and being above, being the loudest. Eckhart Tolle says also, stay away from the loud people. Ego is loud. That internal voice is very subtle, very peaceful. Always stay away from loud people. And that truth resonates with me. That truth resonates with me. I do not resonate a lot with loud people. So that kind of person comes in, and for the first time in my life, I know within me, my energy belongs to me right now in this jacuzzi, and I do not care what that person is gonna do, say, or think at all. I couldn't give any F's to it at all. I was literally in a feeling and emotion that I would stand up and say out loud, I am not here to please you. I am not here to be any way your mind tells you I should be. I am here from me to me. And that person keeps on talking to me and shouting to me. I open my eyes, I look at him, and I close my eyes. I didn't nod my head. I did not give my power away because I didn't felt it is my place or my need or my desire or my responsibility to fulfill this man's any type of limiting beliefs, seeking for reassurance in the environment around him that it's okay for him to be the way he is, okay? Or find a fight that it's not okay. And I'm very happy with myself, very happy with myself. Was I internally pissed off by that guy? Yes, there was a part of me. It was like, "Ah!" But I just allowed myself to process it. This is nothing like suffering in silence, pushing the pain down. Is simply processing in now moment raw annoyance. Raw annoyance is just allowing myself to experience what I was experiencing without making it wrong, without running away from it, without making it wrong. It was actually new and higher level for me of setting healthy functional boundaries for myself. At the beginning of setting boundaries, I thought that my healthy functional boundaries are based on me telling others what they cannot do or they can do with me or around me. Okay. No, healthy functional boundaries truly work, and they're called healthy because they're from me to me. It is from me to me to know what is acceptable or unacceptable, to know what is for me, what is not for me, to know when to remove myself out of some situation, and most of all, when to not react, only respond, or what I did yesterday, not respond at all. And that came as a result of me stepping into much firmer and higher frequency of me, the frequency I've never been before. I bet it has a lot to do with energy mastery empire mastermind that comes up this Saturday. If you are thinking about joining, I got some comments. I'm gonna do the next one. I don't know where is that coming from. There is not gonna be a next one. It is only this one. I am not guided to do any another one after this one. So I wanted to clear this confusion that came from question mark, who knows where. And that stepping in that frequency is connected to, it directly comes from what happened on the way. So when we were driving from Florida through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, our air conditioning got weakened about a week or 2 weeks ago prior to us leaving and driving with our two puppies on the back. Our puppies are very tiny, very small. They already had experience with overheating over here. They both already were in hospitals few times, and we were very close to losing them. With Ali, it was twice that she was very close in my hands in the second we were running into hospital. So we were very alerted when the air conditioning entirely went down. So I'm from Europe, so I've never experienced anything like it here when you drive for so many hours and the temperature doesn't change. Okay. I've never experienced anything like it. The humidity doesn't change. It's so strong. The heat is so strong. So it was somewhere around 33, 35 Celsius through hours and hours and hours. Now, where we are here right now, there's so many trees, there's so much nature. So there is this like a natural breeze coming from the sea. But the deeper in land you go and higher, there is none of it. And there are so many places, especially like the highway, where there is so much nature cut out, it's just pure concrete, which makes the heat even more. I'm not afraid to say 40 degrees without any wind and blow. So we made decisions that we did. We weren't agreeing with each other. We weren't in a full-on alignment with the decisions we are making, with how is that flowing. Our irritation was taking over. For me, I'm gonna speak for myself, and it was really challenging. It was really challenging. It was so much fear, feeling the fear, not running away from it, and also being like listening simply to the internal guidance and common sense. Simply common sense, knowing that that little puppy is not gonna last long in that heat. I took them on a walk, and after 5 minutes walk, Ali was very close to the state she was in before she was taken to hospital. So that made me think and feel like, oh, we are in trouble. And where that broke down, there was no places around. It was like, it wasn't any big town around. It was just a whole different situation than I would experience myself if I would be living in Scotland. Because I know that there would be a places to fix a car everywhere, or this and that, right? That's where I was living before I moved here. So we decided to just find temporary solution of like an internal little coolers for the puppies on the back, and on the front we just bared the heat and the sweat anyhow. And through that time, all I knew was most important is to me be real with me. Meaning, I had emotions and fears and trauma to process that was coming up to the surface through hours and hours and hours of driving. That was not pleasant. That wasn't 5 minutes. Okay, let me sit with it. Let me breathe to it. Let me process it. No, there is no running away from that humidity and that heat. And they are two little babies, 40 babies behind, that I am afraid of. And I keep on checking on them because it is my job. So it was really unpleasant. It was really challenging. And in the same time, it was the best possible opportunity for myself and my beloved Andrea to get into the alignment on a level I've never experienced before with another human being that I was with. I've never experienced that before. Never, never, ever. I could get an alignment on a friendship level, temporary for the time being. That was a whole new thing. It was a whole new level. And we used that opportunity. We spoke out loud, meaning we expressed out loud what we don't feel comfortable with, what doesn't feel right, our pain, our fear, our worry, our insecurity, whatever it was flowing. I was and I'm gonna speak about my side of it, meaning my experience. Expressed it all out. No running away. There is no running away from that car. Living, driving hell. There is no way of running away from it. You are either in an experience and in a spot. You're simply processing everything. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't have to look graceful. It is smelly. It is sweaty, and it doesn't look nice. It doesn't feel nice, but it got to be processed. If not, it is repressed, suppressed, pushed down, waiting for another unpleasant opportunity to probably blow up unexpectedly in your face. Because that's what happens when we are not present and aware with our body sensations, with our feelings and emotions. They all of a sudden blow up into our face. When we are present and aware and allow ourselves to experience all, remembering I am not that fear. I am not that pain. I am not that body that can hardly handle this humidity and this heat and this unpleasant situation. I am not that past trauma or fear of experiencing this. I am not it. I am so much more than it. So why would I be running away from experiencing it and expressing it? And at some point, because every energy was designed to flow, and no energy has ever been designed to stay as it is and get stuck. Even sun that has been created at some point in the past will disappear at some point in the future. Past and future illusion are just a different now moment, yet everything appears and disappears in this everlasting vastness space. In this vastness of silence, every sound comes to existence and it ends. So if I am believing I am this limited thought that I am not good enough, of course, I would be obeying it and I will be running away from it, believing it is bigger even than me. If I remember deep inside that I can master my own energy, and I am a creator of my own reality, it means that I can actually create a meaning. I can actually add a different meaning to the situation I am in. It doesn't have to be disempowering any longer. It can actually be entirely different. It can actually be something entirely neutral, because everything that happens and doesn't happen is neutral in itself. But the meaning we are assigning it to it creates our reality. Okay. So I could easily obey to my old way of being and make myself victim of this situation. That's what my mind wanted to do. That's what my body was shaking me into, physically shaking. But if I would be running away from it, I would be only pushing this down. No, it's all good. Everything is okay. Everything is fine. Oh, it's good to sweat it out. Da, da, da. No, I feel horrible. I feel horrible. I don't like this. And I am in it. And I choose to stay in this experience until we will get to the place where we can fix the car, where we can stay overnight safe. So it's an entirely different approach. because I no longer believe I have to smile and be happy with everything. I no longer feel I owe anything to anyone to be any other way that I am feeling right now. I don't believe that my happiness and safety and joy depends on how anyone else is seeing me. So if I believe that I am a source of my own happiness and reality, then I can allow myself to experience it all. And I can allow myself to allow this energy to run through me in its own pace. Some energy takes a lot of time until it will get out of the body and system or this present now moment, but not, it never happens when I sit with it to get rid of it. It only happens when I choose to love myself enough and be with what is. No resistance. Eckhart Tolle talks about it. I just finished today, this morning, reading The Power of Now at least 22nd time. I've been reading it over and over again for years. And it's been my Bible. This became my Bible and it changed my life. So as soon as I removed the resistance, I'm just allowing myself to process it. But the second I'm starting to process something I never processed before, it's like a flood. It could come like a flood, flooding my whole system. So all I got to do is just to be with it and love myself through it and breathe through it and express it as it is. Sometimes it's just internally, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it fully, 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 entirely. Other times it is required to say out loud, oh my goodness, this is exactly how I feel. This is what I am experiencing right now. This is what I would love to share. It doesn't make you or me right or wrong. It's just something that runs through me. And that moment when we allowed ourselves to be all shades of the rainbow, something magnificent happened. We came to such a deep level of being on the same team, on the same side. We created a 3-step system to come up with for any situation that would ever happen in the future. And we repeated it out loud, step by step, what to do. 3 steps for me, the same 3 steps for Andrea. And we repeated out loud at least 5 times. So that system, that download that came, it's embedded. It just placed us on a whole new existence. And we've spent quite a few days with Andrea's family, which it was absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to share with you guys about children who are living in nature, who don't hear TV running in the background 24/7, who are feeding chickens and are homeschooled. And oh my goodness, what a beautiful sight to feel and experience. Excuse me. And yeah, I need to definitely share that. I'm going to share that because how Caroline, the 3-year-old, was behaving intuitively is what we are doing all this work to go towards, where those children are just so much closer because there is less conditioning, so much closer to that intuitive way of being. I will share that story for another time because it's just so beautiful, and I don't want to cut it through shortcuts because we've been here for a little bit. Okay, so few days after that, after our car was fixed and everything, Andrea just came up on her own with, yeah, let's stay in this. What do you think about this stay in the mountains? I had nothing to do with choosing this place or how it should look like, how it should be. All I needed was a Wi-Fi and a bed. Oh, that's what I needed, and a little bit of nature around. Andrea found something. We just packed it up within an hour and just like, yeah, we have a reply, we have confirmation, we can go to this Airbnb. And after the sun went down, we drove over there at nighttime and we woke up in a magnificent view. Not only it was everything my body and my mind, my soul was craving, it was so much more. So on an analytical level, it was kind of like everything I was kind of like really desiring and missing, which it was a coolness at the morning, fireplace, phenomenal view of hills and mountains. It was heat through the day also, so it wasn't just cold. It was dry. It was feeling phenomenal, but it was also just this feeling of freedom, this amazing feeling of freedom. But it was so much more. There was this special energy, this special place we found ourselves in through simply being there. And the way I felt over there was just absolutely mind blowing. I just felt on the top of my own world. I felt I can feel anything and everything, I can process everything, and there is nothing I need to run away from. Not only that, I discovered a deeper level of being with another human being and spiritual being in an intimate relationship, which it was just absolutely mind blowing. My all cells are vibrating when I am talking about it. And that is available for to every single one of us who is deciding I am going all in. I'm going all in into this work of being a human, no longer running away or bypassing feelings and emotion. Now, that doesn't mean that, okay, from now on, all we talk about and see and choose is pain and suffering and fear. It's a whole different outcome when we allow ourselves to just experience and feel something versus being it, being fear, being tiny, small, fear driven, and running away. Entirely different outcome. Leslie Ann says, yes, I can identify. Amit says, I am suffering from lack of money. I don't understand what to do in this situation. So if you will understand, if you are open to receive different outcomes, there is a need to approach or open up to a different understanding. So suffering is resistance. If you will allow yourself to fully and entirely feel lack of money and observe yourself, your whole body, your whole mind for as long as it's needed, there will be no longer running away from it. There will be no longer suffering. And that will already shift something massive. Number two is going to take you back into your body because you cannot be in suffering and in your body. Suffering is being outside of your body, resisting to what you feel internally in your body. So you cannot suffer and be in your body with your eyes open and closed in the same time. Yeah, and that's going to change your whole energy, your whole magnetism. You would be able to see where you repel situations, where you see something through someone else's way of being and understanding, which it isn't actually yours. Because you are not the suffering, you are not the lack, you are experiencing it, or you resisting to experience something that wants to run through your body. Andrea's here. Bless you. Do you need a microphone? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, in order to say last few closing remarks for the video, I'm going to move right now